time wasters that are secretly draining your day. Welcome to Rethink Your Perspectives blog, your trusted space for unlocking potential, empowering mindsets, building productive habits, and boosting motivation. Today we're discovering the top time wasters that are quietly draining your day and learn simple ways to reduce distractions, improve your focus, and protect your energy. Don't forget to join the mailing list on the website for weekly updates and powerful tools to support your growth. And we hope that you get some benefit from these posts, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't hesitate to like, share, and comment at the links at the bottom. So do you ever wonder where your day actually went? You start the day with good intentions. You know there are things you want to get done, and maybe you even have a list ready. Then the day begins. A message comes in. An email needs answering. You quickly check something online. A small task catches your attention. Someone asks you a question. You switch from one thing to another, and before you know it, hours have passed. You've been busy, but somehow the important things are still sitting there waiting for you. That is one of the most frustrating parts of productivity. It's not always the big, obvious things that drain your day. Often, it's the small, quiet time wasters that creep in unnoticed. And this is where awareness matters. Because once you can see what is draining your time, energy, and focus, you can start making different choices. Why time wasters are not always obvious. When people think about time wasters, they often think about scrolling social media, watching too much television, or getting lost in random internet searches. Those things can definitely take up more time than we realise, but many time wasters look productive from the outside. Answering emails can feel productive. Tidying your desk can feel productive. Tweaking a document can feel productive. Planning, researching, organising, and checking can all feel like progress. Sometimes they're useful. Sometimes they are avoidance in disguise. That does not mean you are lazy or doing anything wrong. It simply means your brain is very good at choosing tasks that feel easier, safer, or more immediate, especially when the task that truly matters feels big, unclear, or uncomfortable. The goal is not to eliminate every possible time waster. That would be unrealistic and exhausting. The goal is to notice where your attention's going and then gently redirect it back to what matters most. So let's look at the top 6 time wasters. Firstly, distractions that break your focus. Distractions are one of the most common time wasters, but they're not always dramatic. It might be your phone lighting up beside you, notification popping onto your screen, a message you feel you should answer straight away, or the habit of quickly checking something just for a minute. The problem is not always the distraction itself, it's the cost of returning to the task afterwards. When your attention is pulled away, your brain has to switch gears, remember where you were, and rebuild focus. If this happens over and over again, even small interruptions can make a task take far longer than it needed to. So how to reduce distractions? Start by making focus easier, rather than expecting yourself to resist everything through willpower. So you could try putting your phone out of reach for one focus block, turning off non-essential notifications, closing tabs you do not need, setting a 25-minute timer for one task. You do not need a perfect distraction-free day. Even one protected block of focus can help you feel more in control. Secondly, context switching between too many tasks. Context switching is when you keep moving between different tasks, thoughts, or types of work. You might answer an email, then return to a report, then check a message, then remember an admin task, then jump back to the report again. It can feel as though you're getting lots done because you're constantly active. But constant switching is tiring. Each time you move between tasks, your brain needs to adjust. That uses energy. It also increases the chance of mistakes, forgotten details, and half-finished work. By the end of the day, you may feel mentally drained, even if none of the tasks were especially difficult on their own. So how do you reduce context switching? The simple way to reduce context switching is to batch similar tasks together. For example, instead of checking emails every few minutes, choose 2 or 3 set times in the day. Instead of jumping between admin and creative work, give each type of task its own space. You can also ask, what type of focus does this task need? Writing, planning, calls, admin, and problem solving all use your brain differently. Grouping similar tasks can help your day feel less scattered. Third, lack of clarity about what matters. One of the biggest hidden time wasters is not knowing what the priority actually is. When everything feels important, it becomes very easy to react to whatever is loudest. Emails, messages, urgent-looking tasks, and other people's requests can take over. This is how you can end up busy all day without making progress on the thing that really mattered. A lack of clarity does not always feel like confusion. Sometimes it feels like hesitation, procrastination, or constantly rearranging your to-do list. How do you create more clarity? Before you get pulled into the noise of the day, choose your main focus. You might ask, if I only completed one meaningful thing today, what would make the biggest difference? This does not mean other tasks do not matter, it simply gives your day a centre of gravity. Once you know the main priority, it becomes easier to decide what deserves your best energy and what can wait. Fourth, perfectionism disguised as high standards. Perfectionism is a sneaky time waster because it often looks like care. You want something to be good, you want to do it properly, you want to make sure it's right. There is nothing wrong with having high standards. The problem comes when the extra time you're spending is no longer adding real value. Maybe you keep tweaking a piece of work that is already good enough. Perhaps you avoid starting because you cannot do it perfectly yet, or you spend so long planning that you never quite move into action. Perfectionism can make simple tasks feel heavy and important tasks feel frightening. How to loosen perfectionism? Simply try asking, is this good enough to move forward? That question does not mean being careless. It means recognizing when the task has done what it needs to do. Some things deserve your best work. Other things simply need to be useful, clear, and finished. Knowing the difference can save a lot of time and energy. Fifth, over-planning instead of taking action. Planning is useful. It can help you feel organized, reduce overwhelm, and give your day direction. But planning itself can become a time waster when it replaces action. You might keep creating better systems, rewriting your list, researching methods, watching productivity videos, or waiting until you have the perfect plan before you begin. This often happens when the next step feels uncertain or uncomfortable. Planning gives a sense of control, but it does not always create progress. How to move from planning to action. Once you have a rough plan, choose the next small step. Not the whole project, not the perfect version, just the next useful action. That might be opening the document, writing the first paragraph, sending one message, setting up the first appointment, or spending 10 minutes making a start. Clarity often comes through action, not before it. And the sixth biggest time waster is saying yes too quickly. Another common time waster is saying yes before you've checked whether something truly fits. This could be taking on extra tasks, agreeing to meetings you do not need, accepting requests out of habit, or giving your time to things that do not align with your priorities. Saying yes can feel kind, helpful, or responsible in the moment, but too many automatic yeses can leave you with very little space for what actually matters. So pause before saying yes. You do not have to become harsh or unhelpful. A pause is often enough. Try saying, "Let me check and come back to you." That gives you space to decide rather than react. Before agreeing, ask yourself whether the request fits your priorities, your capacity, and the kind of week you are trying to create for yourself. Awareness is the first step to reducing time wasters. You cannot change what you have not noticed. That is why awareness is so important. For one day, try gently observing where your time and attention go, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Notice when you get pulled away from your task. Notice when you avoid something important, or when you choose an easy task instead of a meaningful one. Notice when you're tweaking, planning, checking, or scrolling longer than intended. You're not looking for reasons to criticize yourself. You are simply gathering information. Once you see the patterns, you can make small changes that support you better. A simple time waster audit. If you want a practical place to begin, try this quick audit at the end of the day. Ask yourself, what drained more time than I expected? What interrupted my focus? What did I avoid? What helped me make genuine progress? What one thing could I reduce tomorrow? You do not need to fix everything at once. Choose one small time waster and make it slightly harder to fall into. Then choose one meaningful task and make it easier to start. That might be enough to change the feel of your whole day. Where to go from here? If this has resonated with you, you'll likely find this next step really valuable. I recently delivered a talk that explores this idea in more depth. It was called, "What if lack of time isn't the issue?" It challenges the way we think about time and offers a fresh perspective on what actually makes a difference. The link for the video is within the blog. It's on my YouTube channel, and on the website version of the blog is an embedded video for you to watch. Because maybe the answer is not to find more time. Maybe it's to focus more clearly on what matters. So what do you think? The top time wasters are not always about time itself. They're often about energy, attention, clarity, and habits. A distraction might only take a minute, but it can break your focus for much longer. Perfectionism might look like care, but it can delay progress. Lack of clarity might feel like busyness, but it can stop you from choosing what matters. The good news is that small changes can make a real difference. When you become more aware of what is draining your day, you can begin to protect your focus, choose clearer priorities, and use your energy more intentionally. If this has inspired you to rethink your own time management, explore my other posts in the Knowledge Centre, or to learn more about how I can help you apply these principles in your own life, you can message me here, connect on social media, or book a free discovery call. To your continued success, Jay. Rethink your perspective.